Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles D&D Zelda Edition. My name is ArticulateT, I am the GM, and today is episode 27? I want to say 27.
Eight.
Oh wow, okay.
28.
28, episode 28. That said, I am the GM.
You see, RT wasn't here for the last one.
Yeah,
we filled in, but it was chaotic.
Yeah.
Chaotic neutral mostly.
I told you.
Oh, no.
I told you not to use Lionels. Just don't use Lionels while I'm away. And what you do, use Lionels, and then
One of
things
my
go
best
wrong.
friends is called. One of my friends is called Lionel.
Ah.
Well, if he's a good friend, surely you don't want people to use him.
No. And yet.
And yeah. But with me today, I have, playing Renji, Heir of Nihilus, I have TheNetherlad.
Hello again.
Playing Hikan Sio, I have the Alvarance.
Hello.
Playing Ziden Shari, I have the Robo-Pirate.
Hello.
And playing Max, I have the Keastreth.
Hi.
Sadly, we don't have the SteveTheSeregios to play Sho Daius because he is currently asleep. He's got like graveyard shifts this entire week, and it's understandable that he wants to have as much rest for that as possible. But in the meantime, who would like to go over what happened the last time you ventured into the wide worlds of Hyrule?
Wasn't so much the wide worlds as it was the wide woods. And it was generally kind of like illusionary type woods that our druid found out about. Thank you, Ziden. And everyone started hearing some voices. Even Ziden started hearing some voices. And
My voices were real voices.
we think we might have to take him to the home because he decided to trust these voices.
I don't know what you
Everyone
guys
else
were talking
seemed
about. I don't know what you
trustworthy
guys were talking about. I didn't hear any voices.
Fair. And we went to go see not Jean-Luc, but rather Pierre. And he is all like, "Hey guys, how about you get me some crystals?" And we're like, "We'll think about it." And we went over to where it was. We figured out that it was consecrated ground by some type of fairy-type figures, and thanks to the perceptive eyes of the not Sheikah in the party, we figured out that it was guarded by Pose, and since I don't have magical fists to punch things, I decided that it was a bad idea. And I think
Yes.
everyone else agreed.
You don't have magic
Agreed.
fists yet.
Yeah. So we decided to find our own way, and we really figured out that Pierre was a bit of a dick because he tried to get in our way, but Ziden, being the awesome druid and plant person that he is, got us to the shaman's house.
And so it is that you find yourselves before a cave. A dark cave set in a small cliff-like rise in the stone, hidden away within these woods. What do you do, lads and lasses?
So, what's the scene before us?
Well, you have, as said, you have a small clearing where there is a fairly large hill, almost like a cliff that kind of protrudes out of the like marshy sort of land before you, and there is a cave that you'd have to climb a small slope to get to it, but there is a cave in there and it's fairly dark inside.
I suggest we climb up to the cave and then shout some form of greetings into it.
Okay, and Hikan will go ahead and start doing a running jump or climbing faster to help everyone else up.
Before we do this, maybe not shout our presence around?
Because?
Well, not everything in these woods have proven themselves to be friendly.
True, but if this is the sage's domain, do you really want to sneak up in on him? We need to
At
let
least
him know. We can shout down the cave, that way the sound will go that way.
Very well, I just don't want... I don't want enemies to have the drop on us.
Hey, look
That's
at it
all.
this way. If there were significant enemies in this forest, Pierre probably would have sent them at us already.
Maybe you're right.
He seems like a bit of a bad scarecrow.
And he was so nice too. Hikan says as he's like hand over hand up, like halfway up by now.
Yeah, it's not a terribly arduous clamber. People could probably get up there. It's just like not a slope that you would easily be able to simply walk up. But after a brief amount of effort from all present, you manage to get up and you find yourselves at the mouth of this cave. It's oddly warm. There's a warm air that comes from this cave.
Is it also moist?
Not moist. It's more of a dry heat.
Here's a good question. Do I smell smoke since it's warm in there?
Make a perception check.
A 13.
That's good enough. Yeah, you do smell some smoke. There's a kind of something else in there as well, like maybe some herbs or spices or something that's been added to whatever this is. But you definitely smell the smell smoke coming from this cave.
Well, there's a fire in there and someone's making something on it, but I can't really tell what from here, so this is as good as any.
Would imply that there's someone in there already, so
Animals generally don't cook things.
we'll I think, shout a greeting down. Unless you have any objections, Renji?
I mean, I've said my objection already. I think it's still a better idea to move in and announce our presence if we decided to be safe.
I suppose if we aren't, like, sneaking into the cave, it's probably fine.
If you didn't want visitors, you should have a door.
Or a sign. Although living in this sort of wood would possibly mean he doesn't want visitors. But anyway, let's advance into the cave somewhat then, in a
Okay.
non-stealthy manner.
Okay. So as you enter into the cave, and the light from the outside is overtaken by the darkness on the inside, your dark vision, for all of you who have dark vision, kicks in, and you can see like a fair distance ahead, and it seems that this cave was not manually dug out. There's it seems like the cave itself seems to kind of twist to one side before disappearing out of view. So it's possible that this was a natural formation that isn't exactly a straightforward to navigate.
Hello?
Hello?
Sorry?
It's a natural formation, not exactly straightforward to navigate.
Yeah.
Guess we will continue towards the source of the smoke.
Okay. As you slowly move in, you definitely seem to pick up on the scent of a fire, as well as ingredients having been added to the flame. And as you move in a little closer, you move down these twisting corridors of stone, the ground not exactly being even footing. On occasion, you run the risk of slipping on something, but trudge on anyway, and you can hear what sounds like things being moved around, very gently though, like the occasional someone like drop something on a table or...
I think now's your time.
Okay, let's say, hello in here?
There's a pause before there's a adequate response, which is, can I help you?
may we come speak with you face to face?
How many of there are you?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us total, I think.
6.
6.
Okay, because 6 of us total.
Very well. Come on in.
Okay, we'll head forward to meet him.
Okay. You continue down the corridors a ways before you eventually find yourself into a fairly sizable opening. And in the center of this opening is this large bonfire. It seems to have a radius of around about, or a diameter around about 10 feet. But it kind of gently simmers in the center of this room, surrounded by these rocks. And to one corner there is a table which is covered haphazardly in piles of books and other little trinkets and ingredients, and you can definitely get the full smell of some of these ingredients that might have just been thrown on the fire, possibly as part of an incantation. And standing next to all of them is this robed figure who's sort of hunched over, but the thing that catches your eye most of all is the fact that that he seems to have this beak which extends forward rather far, like a toucan.
Max freezes.
Hikan, like, narrows his eyes and just, like, half mutters, half, like, whispers, it's Flamgo?
I do not know any Flamgo.
Okay.
Ziden will step forward and say, "Hello, my name is Ziden. Might I ask yours?"
I am Diostro, the world touched. And he very gently inclines his head. It looks like from his posture he seems to have effectively taken to the effects of age, where he's not incredibly mobile, and he's taking a large amount of care to kind of just remain on his 2 feet.
That's not going to stop Max from hyperventilating.
Yeah.
Renji's also cautious.
Ziden's going to match his semi-head bow.
So, you have braved the woods outside in order to speak to me, I'm guessing? Not many people wander in the woods outside without a specific reason.
Indeed, I believe you are the goal of our mission.
Well, whatever counsel I can provide is... I will be happy to provide. Please come in, make yourselves at home, at least for the moment. And he turns away to kind of shuffle more of his poorly organized things. Just kind of picks up a book, examines it briefly, lightly tosses it to one end of the table where it just makes a thump. What do you guys do?
I will find a suitable spot to take a seat.
Yeah. There's like... It's not a perfect circle around the fire, but there are pillows, or like a log that one can sit on. And they just...
Ziden will sit on a log.
Okay.
You beat me to it.
If the log is big enough, I'll sit next to Ziden.
Okay.
Max doesn't move, and there are now sparks dancing between his hand and his staff.
I will put a reassuring hand. I'm probably going to regret this, but I put a reassuring hand on Max's shoulder and just stay close to Max.
The first thing that happens is you feel something under his clothes that is distinctly not skin. And second, he flinches back, scrambles to the wall, and yells, "No, stop! I'm not going back to the room!"
Max?
What?
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Would Would you like to go back outside, Max?
Just stay back here.
Okay.
Just hugs his staff and breathes loudly in the corner.
Tyrina will, seeing this, will not get too close to Max, but she'll lean against a wall that is nearby him, and just kind of fold her arms and observe the situation. But Diostro eventually finds something that he was looking for, flips to a couple of pages and turns around to all of you, says, "So, what is it that you have come to speak to me about?"
Renji will take from his pouch a piece of parchment which has the symbol of the eye, with the toothed eye,
Okay.
and hold it out to this figure.
Okay. He doesn't pull a flamgo, he doesn't teleport. He just kind of very slowly, creakily walks over and gently takes the piece of paper from your hand and examines it.
I'll let him.
"Hmm,
We found this at the site where a good friend of us passed away. We attempted to restore him to life, which failed. Possibly because his soul was taken.
I see. This hand with an eye in the center, and the eye is surrounded by teeth. That is a vicious symbol, but I am not aware of its origin." And he snaps the book shut and takes the symbol and wanders back over to the table where he was standing, puts the book down, and says, "I do offer an avenue that you can take in order to know what this symbol means and where it comes from, if you would want to."
That is why we came.
I must warn you that I cannot guarantee that this method will be pleasant, and it will require your full cooperation.
One of us or all of us?
All of you.
I'm willing. Titan's going to look over, worried at Max.
What kind of magic are you going to be working?
It is something of a induced vision. It will show you the origin of the symbol, or at least a moment in history where the symbol had held prominence at one point. The vision will be vivid. You will be able to interact with the world as if you were there. But again, I cannot guarantee that it will be pleasant.
Seeing our friend wasn't pleasant. I'll do it.
Nice, jams the end of the staff into the floor to stand up, and is like, used to unpleasant.
He turns his eyes over expectantly over at Sho and Tyrina, both of whom just silently nod, and then finally they fall to Hikan.
I don't exactly. We came all the way through the forest to help our friend, and I'm gonna keep walking until I figure out if I can find him or not.
Very well. And he wanders over to the flame in the center and says, "I would advise finding a comfortable place to sit down."
Plops back into corner.
I go grab one of the pillows and then bring it over to Max.
Thanks.
Sho sits down, cross-legged, disciplined form. Tyrina just kind of places the axe to one side and then slumps against the wall. And as everybody gets ready, Diostro says, "Now, close your eyes, for you will wake in a different place and time." And he snaps his fingers, and in a burst of flame, the symbol that you have given him, the piece of paper, evaporates into these little sparkles, which then descend into the flame, which gets brighter and brighter and brighter, and then eventually everything goes dark. And it takes a moment for things to kind of comprehend. It's like when you hit the peak of a roller coaster where you get to the top and then suddenly you're just about to tip over the edge. That kind of sudden fall that lurches your stomach a little bit. That's the sensation that you go through before you kind of find yourself on a different ground. Instead of hard stone of the cave or the soft plush of a cushion, you find yourself lying amongst grass blades. There's a cold, damp air about you. And as vision comes back to you and you blink your eyes, you see a rather dismal, overcast sky that is above all of you. And you hear the clanking of metal hurriedly moving towards you.
Stand quickly and look towards the source of the sound.
I try and summon my rapier.
Okay, you do?
Mm-hmm.
It flashes into your grip. As you all stand, Max, you turn to the source of the sound. It's quite easy to see. Coming down the path are a pair of Hylians from the looks of things. They appear to be dressed in a kind of guard uniform, though it's different from the one that you've seen in Hyrule Castle Town. And they both wield spears, but they kind of... And one of them says, are any of you okay? What? Who are you? What happened?
We are all right. I look over at the group to see if that actually is true.
Are we all alright?
Yeah, you haven't received any wounds or anything. You just might be feeling a little bit groggy, but otherwise you're fine. Tyrina, as she stands, gives a nod, as does Sho.
Hikan's looking around, trying more to get his bearings, since all things there, like looking for things around. Is it closer to a forest? Is it in Castle Town? Is there buildings or the like?
Make a perception check. All of you can do this if you want to.
All right then.
Hey, reverse the last time.
Yeah.
And I got the reverse again.
24.
Nice.
Hey.
So all of you observe that the surrounding area is this kind of sparse sort of tree area. There are lots of trees around as if it's trying to be a forest, but there isn't much of it. There is a singular path that kind of heads in one direction, at which point it leads to a small rise, which is before this nice big formation of stone. And that formation of stone, on that small rise, backed up to that formation of stone, appears to be a small fort.
Do I recognize the fort?
Make a history check.
History. Well then.
Ziden doesn't recognize it.
Oh, just an 8.
Neither of you seem to recall the name or even the location on the map of this castle.
My character wouldn't know.
The two guards kind of look quizzically to each other and say, "Well, if you're all right, that's fine. Wait, hold on. and one of them comes over, and he goes over to you, Renji, and he kind of squints his eyes and he looks over you, and you actually get a better look at his uniform. It's weird. There's like, it's a standard kind of chainmail armor, and he wields a pike, but the tabard that he wears over this armor doesn't appear to have the seal of the royal family on it. Like, it seems almost like it's half of it. Like, it just has the bird part, but not the actual Triforce that sits above the bird.
Okay.
As you...
I try and keep my rapier out of sight, or at least I try and inconspicuously lower my rapier.
And as he kind of like comes to some kind of realization, his eyes widen and say, "My word, you're Sheikah." And he looks over to the rest of you and goes,
Yes.
"You're almost all Sheikah. That's..." And like he breathes a huge sigh of relief, well, at least seemingly so, and he turns and says, "Lieutenant, there's Sheikah." And the other man looks and says, Are you sure?" And he says, Yes. Come, please. We need your help."
What seems to be the issue?
It would be safer and more expedient if you were to come and speak to our captain. We're just in the castle over yon. If you would come with us, we would be delighted to explain our situation. If you could help in any way, that would be wonderful. It's not every day we see any of Hylia's personal chosen. And he's already in the process of walking back up to the castle, and then stops like 10 feet away to make sure you're following him.
I glance over at the rest and say, well, I guess we should follow them.
Looking for
At least to
information,
find out what era we're in.
right?
Okay. So you all head over to the castle. It's a fairly basic affair, and looking around when you get to this higher ground, you see that there's no village or town or farmstead or anything that seems that this structure is designed to protect. It looks like as if this building is like a forward post of some kind, but the actual size and workmanship of this castle indicates to you maybe that it's very, very it's a bit much for like a forward post. But yeah, and as you arrive, the two guards in front of you, one of them pipes up and shouts to the guy above the gate. It's like, "Open the gate! We have guests!" And the guy behind the gate says, "Okay." And there's as these big wooden doors open, and inside you see moving amongst more of these guards are civilians. Like, there's women and children and ununiformed, unarmed men who are just moving supplies around, and a lot of them stop and turn to look as the doors open before you, and then the two guards kind of gesture for you to follow him in as they move inside.
Does anyone seem injured?
Make a perception check.
9.
It's hard to tell. A lot of people are moving around at this point. Some of them, it's possible that some of them might be injured, but not in something that would impede their mobility. And it's also possible that if they had injured, that they'd be kept somewhere else.
I will dismiss my rapier and instead just put a hand on the longsword that I still keep at my hip.
Okay. And as all of you move in, the doors then close behind you. And
the guard that is escorting us, I will just pace towards him and say, "Good sir,
yes,
we have been traveling somewhat through these lands. Could you tell us the exact date Date, day, month, year.
Oh, well, it is, let's see. I'm sorry, with everything that's happened recently, it's hard to keep track of even the most basic things. Lieutenant, remind me the date. And Lieutenant says, "Oh, yes. It is the year 13, and it is the year 13 of the HCY, and it is the month of I don't have fancy names, so I'll say it's the month of June."
Mm-hmm. So HCY.
That is
13.
a very old term of time. This is impossibly long ago.
Thinking thousands of years then?
Quite possibly.
What does HCY stand for? Does Renji know?
I'd say make a history check with advantage.
History check with advantage. Let's see if I don't fumble this one. That's a 13, just.
A 13. Remembering from your studies, you believe it stands for Hylia Yadro Kolai, which is basically the year of Hylia.
I'm trying very hard not to show anything on my face.
What are you all preparing for so much?
Oh, it's been awful. The surface world is... It is ravaged by monsters. I feel like the captain will be able to explain it better. You there, private! And he points to one of the other guards who stands to attention. Yes, sir? And he's like, go get Captain Eitri. We'll need him. And he's like, of course. And he runs off. And he says, the war's been raging for quite a while, and at the moment we're trying our best to settle in wherever we possibly can. Any defenses that we can use to defend the people is what we shall use. And sadly, as powerful as she is only one goddess, and we can't rely on her protection for the entire world.
So this outpost, how many others of this size?
There are a few. They're dotted around every so often. But it's mainly any location that seems defensible and would provide us with the breathing room that we need in order to build it. The stone and wood structures that we have, they are powerful and strong and will stand for a long time, but the enemy is hard to control, and they're hard to counter, and whenever we try and start something anywhere, there is a chance they will just arrive and overwhelm us, and we won't be able to get anything done.
Do you have any idea of the numbers, their strength, the details on their
What are they?
It's hard to quantify, and as he says that, a fairly short man, though well built and wearing full plate with a long sword at his hip, comes around the corner. He has kind of very sort of rugged, common commoner's apparel, and he's or commoner's sort of complexion. And he turns over and he says, "Are these our guests?" He says, "Oh, yes, sir. Yes. I will allow you to speak to them, and I must tend to other matters."
I try and adjust my cloak so that the royal seal is somewhat covered up.
Okay. The man comes over and he reaches out a hand to shake yours, and he'll pretty much, if accepted, he'll shake everybody's hand, goes down the line, says, "I'm Captain Eitri Glassforger. It is nice to meet you."
And you, Captain.
So, what has Hylia's chosen found out in the field that brings them to Blackmoor?
I glance over at the rest and kind of give them a quizzical look. And
He's talking to you, not me.
and then
Ziden will use his telepathy headband to communicate with Renji, saying,
Mhm.
if we've been sent here as this vision, then potentially this enemy of theirs is something related to that symbol.
I can respond to that, correct?
Yes.
Renji is looking at Ziden and saying, do you want me to do the talking?
Yes, if we ask him about the symbol somewhere extra private.
I look over at the captain and I say, our mission, while confidential, we have not yet completed. There are some things that we have been tasked to look into, and so far the only place we found is your outpost. Is there a place where we can talk in confidence?
Well, every room that we have has been occupied by something, at least for the most part. But if you head with me to the main chamber, there's something delicate that we're handling there. It's probably the best and most well guarded. Let's go.
Sure.
And he leads you up through a short distance. There's kind of like a courtyard, which is then split into another courtyard, and then he leads you into this big room, which is roughly, it's roughly 40 feet long and 25 feet across, and on a small raised platform are these two individuals in robes. They're not matching robes, and they're kind of waving staves around and casting these spells into these 6 orbs of a relatively large size. And they all brim with these different magics and everything. Everybody make a general intelligence check for me. 15, 0.
Oh,
Yeah,
just a 7.
0.
Wow, Hikan. That's special.
It's not often you get to see a perfect zilch.
Max, you believe you recognize one of these orbs. One of them brims and kind of swirls with this dark energy, and you believe that it was the one that you took care of in the Echo of Hylia that was being used by that bokoblin.
Remember the orb back in that church place with the bokoblins? The Echo of Hylia? Is that it? One of my fellow players respond, please.
Yeah. Ziden's going to check if he still has that vial which had shards of that crystal.
Right.
You check through your belongings and you find the vial, but it appears empty.
Interesting.
Guess this was where it was made.
So this is where that started.
Yeah.
How much time has passed since then?
Too much.
As he brings you inside and the door is closed behind you, he turns around and says, so, what is it that you'd be needing from us?
Well, some parchment and pen and ink, if you have it. There's something.
Hikan lightly elbows Renji and gives him the copy of the rune that Renji gave him a few days ago at this point.
I put it in view of the captain.
Okay. He takes a look at it and, like, as he sees it, he frowns. Says, yes. We've seen this symbol before. It is one of many that belongs to that accursed demon demise. It populates his armies with these foul creatures of neither life nor death. It's... ugh. It is, in fact, part of the reason why we're doing this. And he points over at the orbs. And he says, that creature, in its own way, has survived incalculable damage. It has withstood fire from siege weaponry and has weathered the blows of magical weapons as well, and yet for some reason it just comes back. We have no way of killing it, so we're trying a different method. We've been given some information from someone who is rather mysterious about their reasons, but they've provided us with something that we believe will work. We just need to get this ritual done.
That's what the orbs are for.
Yes.
In this ritual, you say you can't kill it, and then what will this do?
It will seal him away somewhere, hopefully. At least until we figure out a way that we can kill him.
Would it be alright if we learnt about the ritual?
I don't see why not. They're coming towards the end of it now, but if you'd want to give it a go...
Ziden and I suppose we'll wait for them to finish before
Okay.
intending to learn as much about the ritual as possible to possibly repeat it in the future.
Okay. The mages themselves kind of continue their work, and they seem to be going at it for a long time. Make insight checks, actually, if you're observing them.
Okay.
I thought to observe.
22.
17 for Max and 16 for Renji.
From what you gather, it's a miracle that they're still on their feet. They look tired. They look hungry. They look like they've been going at this for hours, maybe even days, and they haven't stopped.
Does this look like the kind of ritual where they can, like, take a break to eat something?
Make an Arcana check.
Funny.
It doesn't look like that kind of ritual.
Okay.
Essentially what they're doing from the looks of it is that they're taking this kind of arcane energy, or generating this energy, at which point they're pushing it into one of the orbs, which then glows brighter, but as they're not tending to it, it slowly begins to diminish. Like, ever so slightly, but not to a grievous degree. And it's mainly like, if they leave it unattended, then they might be forced to start over from the beginning.
Would they be able to eat a good berry?
It doesn't look like they will be able to, because you have to use an action to eat your good berry. And this kind of magic thing, at least in game terms, would be them using their action to add magic to this thing.
Okay.
But as you're discussing this, there is the sound of what appears to be like a horn going off just outside, and Eitri looks over, and the guards in the room, who kind of stand alert and grab their pikes, and he goes, shit, and he walks over to a window, or like a slit, and out, like, you hear just outside, it's like, Sir, they're here, the undead are here, and he gets to that far before there's small blips and flashes of this dark sort of energy that envelop points in the room, and out of them step these diminutive skeletal creatures that you know as Stalchilds, with their jagged claws and glowing eyes, and they kind of rattle into the room and immediately take up positions. And Eitri calls out to the others and says, "Men, don't let them touch the mages. If they die, it's all over." And they draw their weapons. And I'll pull you to the map.
Captain, do you want us here to defend or outside?
Let's take care of this room first, and then we'll deal with it.
Very well.
I'll start up the battle music. Let me know if the jukebox is working or not, because it has been glitchy on other games that I've played recently. So it's this one. Massive Glory by Steve Shapiro.
So many pretty balls.
Speaking of jukebox, now would be a good time to say that that's mostly what the viewers at home have been watching, is the jukebox instead of the rolls.
Oh wow, really? Oh.
Yes, I actually pinged you about this.
Oh, I thought I read that and thought, it's for some reason I interpret that as the stream can hear the music, but they can't, but we can't. And it's like, oh, okay, well I'll take care of that when I get a break. But
I thought it was you saying that they could hear the music, but not us rolling things.
But it's fine. It's fixed out. Sorry about that. I rolled it. There we go. That's better. Okay. So, everybody roll initiative.
Right.
At least we do read most of our rolls out loud. Initiative 19.
Ooh, I got a natural 20 on initiative.
Nice.
Very nice. That would be a 12 from me.
Oh wow, my initiative is going poorly, at least for the helper NPCs. And there is a lot here, so the Style Child will represent everyone. All the enemy forces in one go, at least for the moment. Oh, hey, what you know? Look at that. Okay. So, Renji, it is your go.
Yes, I'm just checking to see if everything is in order. With my spells, I believe it is. Yes.
Okay.
Renji just pulls the Rod of the Pact Keeper from his belt and is going to cast Eldritch Blast at the, let's see, the rightmost Style Childs, 1 and 2.
Okay.
So that's Eldritch Blast. That's a 24.
Okay, is that the top one or the bottom one?
Sorry, what?
Is that the top one or the bottom one?
Oh,
This specific attack.
right. This specific attack is for the uppermost one.
Okay, so
then,
you fire the bolt at it, at which point it explodes in a shower of bones.
That's 10 damage.
Oh, 10 damage. Oh, okay.
Yes, because I have 2 bolts.
Ah. Then it only partially explodes in a shower of bones, but has enough
Only
bones
partially.
to remain standing.
Okay. Yeah, maybe splitting the damage wasn't a good idea. But anyway, the second bolt, I'll just roll the 20 plus 8.
Okay.
It's only an 11.
11. Sadly, as it kind of totters around and dances without its balance and everything, it blasts against the back wall, scorching it rather badly, but it's not... It leaves the Style Child untouched. Okay. Anything else you want to do on your turn?
I will move over here
Okay.
and try and keep this incoming. So I have my Rod of the Pact Keeper in one hand, my shield at the other.
Okay. That's the case. There it is. Style Children's go. this one's gonna actually. There's a set of stairs there, so it can't. So it's what it's gonna do is it's gonna go for the closest individual that it can see that is currently unoccupied, which is Ziden. Hi. It's
Hello.
gonna run over, and it's gonna trip and tumble and try and slash you with its claws.
Okay.
Getting a natural 1, and
That does not hit.
it does not hit. Sadly, your armor class is not 3.
That would be quite dangerous.
That-
Does anything have an armor class of 3?
I don't even think there's a possibility that anything can have an armor class of like 3. That would be like a minus 7.
10, and then yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You can't have -7 without like a negative dexterity.
Yeah. Unless there's like a magical curse thing about anyway.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be that one's turn. This one's going to slash at the guard next to it. And it gets a 14 to hit, and the guard's AC is 16, so it doesn't hit. Clangs against the guy's armor, and he buffets it back. Another one's going to try and open fire on, or open its claws against another guard. Missing as well. Then the other two are going to do the same thing. So that one again on the north misses. That one in the south misses. Okay, great. Good to know that my dice curse of 2 weeks is affecting everything now. Okay.
Huzzah!
It's permanent.
But they flail and strike and try and go for these guards who remain resolute and fight back against these skeletons, and that leaves it to Max.
The sparks from earlier finally have a target. Are these children wearing any metal armor?
Not really. They're wearing effectively what can charitably be described as loincloths.
Okay. That does not get advantage, but Dragon Grasp, 15 electric damage right in this thing's face for 18.
Yeah. You kind of as you reach forward, you kind of find purchase on this thing's face as if you're putting your fingers into a bowling ball, and just as you do that, it sends the vicious electricity all the way through its body and eventually just crumbles before you. You just have a fried skull in your grasp now, as it is no longer a cohesive creature.
Okay, I will stay put for now. And keep the mages behind me guarded.
Okay. Ziden.
Ziden is going to take a very deep breath before he starts to shift and transform into a giant octopus.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh no.
And then this tendril is going to attack that guy over there.
Okay.
So it's got advantage. So that would be a... Yes. And
Okay.
that's plus another 1, so that's a natural 20 for 20 bludgeoning damage on the skeleton.
Okay.
Oh hey, that thing, the skeletons are not very good again.
Your tentacles wrap around it and then just crunch, and there's just pieces of bone falling away as you slowly uncoil your tentacles.
And then I would have probably... Do I have much movement? Yeah, I have 10 speed. I can't really go anywhere.
Okay.
Be menacing.
So menacing.
Okay. Hikan.
Alright, so what Hikan's gonna do is, seeing that Renji stepped in the path that he wanted to take, is he's going to Dark Souls roll in between Renji's legs, and then to get in between the Stalfos there, and then like on the way up, he's going to keep his hands down, and then just kind of like helicopter kicking one foot at the Stalfos to the north, and then one to the one at the south.
Okay.
So that would be one unarmed strike, 21 for 7 to the one in the north.
Okay, you wheel around and with a swinging axe kick, you crumble it beneath your feet.
And then to the one in the south is 24 for 11.
Okay, I just need to remind myself if they have vulnerabilities to bludgeoning. They do.
Yep.
So you kind of BAM! And there's another explosion of bones as you destroy the skeleton.
And then using some more of my movement, I will go ahead and spring off my hands, doing like a half flip to get over to there.
Okay.
And then use my bonus action unarmed strike against that last Alphos.
Okay.
13 for 10.
Yep. That also utterly wipes it out. Fucking cleaning house.
Hikan, bane of Star Children.
Yeah.
The most powerful child to defeat all other childs.
Oh dear. But yeah, as you do that and the room is cleared, Eitri on his turn will look around and say, "Right, guards, stay here. Keep the mages protected. Make sure, if anything, they at least leave the castle alive. You, Sheikah, follow me. We're going to see if we can push through and get to the front gate." And with that, he's going to use his movement to get out here. And there is a clatter of sword as he takes up his blade. He gets multi-attack. Yep, whatever was out there he was fighting is now dead.
Good to know.
He just did something incredible off screen.
Yeah. And
With a 20 and a 19.
that'll be his turn. The guards remain where they are. Tyrina is going to draw her axe and follow outside and get to about here. And then as she does so, since she's technically a player as well as an NPC, I'm going to reveal that portion of the map. Let's see. I've decided, rather unfortunately, to go for the polygon reveal rather than just a box. There we go. And that will be her turn. Renji.
Let's see. I think Renji is going to move. Well, he sees that this is a bit too far for her.
Because your Misty Step allows you to move places you can see, these triangle bits like here, they are effectively like arrow slits, so you can see outside if you want to teleport anywhere. But
Okay, so I'll move over here.
okay,
Well, I'll probably move over here, see through this, and I'll use Misty Step to get to here.
okay,
And so, like, I vanish into this, like... I think with Misty Step, it is basically I step into a small, squarish portal and just appear someplace else.
yeah, that's fair.
And with that, I still have my action. And I'm just going to use Eldritch Blast once more upon... Like, glancing around very quickly, I see these stealth childs, and I also see this. That seems stronger.
That has flesh.
That looks like a standard prototypical zombie. You've seen them before.
And then I'm going to just cast Eldritch Blast onto the zombie, just for full things. That's a natural 20.
Yeah.
We don't even need to change damage. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. It says 9. Yeah. Alright, so it's 19 damage. Zap. A chunk of flesh and bone is launched away as the blast takes it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And as I see this, I look around and I shout, "The courtyard's overrun!"
Eitri responds with, "Push through!" If we can cut down their numbers, we can at least get through to the front and cut off their continued advance.
I isolate myself for whatever comes.
Okay. Excellent. So, after them it is the undead's turn. This Zomble can only go so far, although he can move 20 feet. There, so he's going to get there at the very least.
Well, I do have my shield out, and I am still wearing my mithril half-blade, so
Okay.
do your worst.
No.
That's not even close to its worst.
Without coordination and anything, it just kind of lazily and swings a limb at you and misses.
I mean, if it had disadvantage, it would literally be its worst.
Yeah. Alright, so the Stealth Children are going to move in. There's a lot of combatants in this, so for the most part I'm just going to gloss over a couple of things and roll privately to see how well the guards do against the undead. But the Stealth Children are going to move. Alright, so let's see how they do. So rolling. Okay, and then... Okay. So, as you're fighting, or as you kind of stare out into the courtyard, you hear a howl of pain as this guard over here is grappled and torn asunder by these Stealth Children, and just drops his weapon to the ground and tumbles to the floor. As the actual skeletons themselves don't think, okay, dude is dead, let's move on to other targets. They just continue going at him. It seems there's not much coordination with these creatures at all. But the rest of the guards and the rest of the Stealth Children kind of remain in lockstep and trying their best to fight each other off. But that'll be their turn. Max, it is your go.
One, 2, 3, 4. Can I jump down this wall safely?
Yeah, it's like a 5-foot
Okay.
drop.
Max gonna leap down here with the skull of that previous thing still in his hand. Lightning jumps all around it and he slam dunks it into this one's head.
Nice.
For minimum damage on this goddamn spell.
Minimum damage. There's a clonk as the skull shatters with the impact, but you can see like a chunk of its skull is now missing, and it seems like to be tilted on one side, but it turns and looks at you. It's like, Right, anything else you want to do?
Just looks it in the eye and says, "Next one kills you."
Ziden.
So it's not actually listed on the octopus character sheet, but being an octopus, would they be able to squeeze through the arrow slits?
I'd say, like, if it was like a normal door for a normal person to go through, an octopus of that size, yeah, perfectly fine. But for the arrow slits, I'd say make an acrobatics check with advantage to push your way through. Or kind of like agile like thing, because you are pretty much a liquid in a bag as far as octopus goes.
23.
Wow.
23, yeah. You kind of like push your way you kind of like push your head through and then squeeze out, and then you just kind of on the floor.
Still does require my entire turn of movement, but I go to here.
At least you're outside now. Okay.
Must be very confusing for these guards.
It's like, what the fuck is that?
Tentacles!
Yeah, because that's all they see at first, just tentacles emerging from the spell chamber.
Oh no. Oh
I
dear.
guess our mages are doing good or bad, I can't tell.
We don't know.
It's not skeletons, it's on our side, right?
Hikan.
Alright, so I gotta burn a key point for Step of the Wind. And 45 will put me here, so, well, sharing the space temporarily with Captain Eitri. Taking a look around. All right, Max and Tyrina have got those. This guard looks like he needs some help. And so what I do is I run towards this guard that's kind of to the south of the door.
Mm-hmm.
And do like one of the front flips over the Stalfos. But what I want to try to do for flavor is like grab and rip off its head.
Okay. So make your martial arts attack, and if it dies from the onslaught, then it will definitely do that.
19 for 10.
Yes,
so 20
it does
that. So I just rip off its head. It's like, oh, okay. And I think I still have 15 feet of movement, so I go here, and I'll just take the skull and just do what Max did and bash it on this other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And that is 19 for 14 bludgeoning damage.
Yep. You just boom. Like the dramatic slow-mo of like a character action game when you finish a room. As you technically hit a motherfucker with another motherfucker. But yeah. Excellent. Friggin' yeah.
Thumbs up to Max, and then that's my turn.
Okay. Captain Eitri is going to utilize his entire movement to hop over the wall and get over to here to back up his guard on that side. And then the guard's turns. This one is going to go over here to back up his fellow guardsmen. And let's see how they do, because they also have a rather large number amongst them. Okay. Okay, so the natural rolls were a 10, a 19, and a 19. Which means that these guys here, they kind of like, as the other one goes through, he circles a hand over his head to the guy behind him, who nods, and through like opposite sides of this thing, just jab forward and skewer this Stel child, and then pull it out in opposite directions to just kind of pull it apart. It just falls to the floor, and this one more or less does the same thing. He kind of goes in low with his pike, pushes upward, and then because it's bones and I guess has momentum on his side, kind of flips the thing over his head, and then like chopping wood, slams it into the ground on the opposite side of him where it shatters, and that'll be their turn. Tyrina will hop down, and she will swing that axe. 27 for 10, and it will it's just enough to finish it off. So she kind of swings around, and there's a brief flash of light as the axe activates upon finding that it's striking an undead, and it just crumbles to nothing. And
then Nash just says, "Told you so."
Fist bumps for the camping crew.
Woo!
Don't fist bump me, my hands are still covered in lightning.
Yeah. And then she's going to move the rest of her movement over here to kind of keep an eye on things. Renji, it's your go again.
With the zombie in melee range and me not having an actual weapon in my hands, I holding the rod and the shield, I'm just going to force my fists, like force my hands as close to the zombie's head as possible, and just ring his brain with Pull the Dead.
Oh.
That's a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw for 11 damage if it succeeds.
Okay. D16 Wisdom saving throw. Alright, okay. Still, it's zombie. There we go. Wisdom saving throw +0. Why are they proficient in... I've never realized. Apparently zombies are proficient in their wisdom saves, but they have a -2 wisdom,
wow.
so it comes out as a 0. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so that gives it a total of 11 damage, at which point it needs to make a DC 16 Undead Fortitude save, like that.
ooh.
So it makes a Constitution saving throw, DC 16. And it crit fails. It has been destroyed. Awesome. As this horrible
And
sound.
for good measure, I kick the zombie off the stairs.
And it just topples to the side in a heap there.
Good.
As it succumbs to the hideous sounds of the twilight, and yeah, what would you like to do now?
Wait, this works.
Yes.
Like, my magic works.
Yes.
This might not be real. Renji has that realization.
Wait a minute, that guy said vision.
Yeah. I don't know what's happening. Renji is going to jump off the stairs, if that is...
Yeah. That's fine.
If that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
I did it, so can you.
He's going to stand over here,
Okay.
getting ready for, like, whatever's over here, to the west, no, to the east, unless there's going to be, like, other enemies coming from someplace else.
Okay. So this, so as you stand there, the Style Childs have their go, and they're still focusing mainly on the guards themselves, but they are in significantly lower number. But from my dice rolls, it seems like they aren't doing particularly well. And with Eitree's direction, and now that the undead are severely outnumbered, the guards manage to keep their ground, and the Style Childs do not take another life. And the zombie doesn't take a life either. And it is Max's go.
Gonna move a bit closer. Closer a bit, I mean all of his movement. And gonna, like, slide his hand along the staff, and as he does, the lightning turns into blue light, which he flings at... First at this Style Child, and then one at this Style Child as some magic missiles.
Ah.
Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. That's 2, 5, and 3 damage. So 7 on one, 3 on the other.
Okay. 3. Okay. Nice. As the missiles slam into them, breaking off parts of rib and arm as they have their back turned to you. Yeah, it's you've you've taken both of them have taken quite a bit of damage, but
I need more bonus action.
Okay.
I need more bonus actions.
Ziden.
Yes, I don't know, go blob, blob. And
I still have another for you.
well, Gail and I have just one attack, which is very, very powerful. I was going to go for the bottom one. Is it injured?
No.
Yeah, in which case... Tentacles!
Oh, it's bludgeoning damage. Yeah. Once again, you whip out the
Boom,
tentacle,
boom.
slams into it, like pushes it against the stone wall, and crushes it.
Thinking more of like an overhead head cleaver down.
Ah, yeah. So, boom. A heavy thud. It
Smash it back into the
slams.
dirt and bury it.
Yeah.
And then just like the
There's a lot.
slow pull away of the tendril.
Nice. Okay. Hikan.
So, for flavor text there, Ziden, are you slimy?
I would assume an octopus is somewhat slimy.
Cool. So, I'm gonna burn another key point because everything's really far away and I need to be up close to do my stuff for Step of the Wind. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run towards Ziden and then like Tarzan slide on his tentacles to like slide up, and I want to get all the way over to the zombie. Actually, I've got enough movement to get over here.
Ah.
Yeah, because it's 75 feet and I've got 90 feet of movement.
Okay.
Long fast.
And with that case, I will go ahead and just do 2 quick pows. 19 for 6, and 12 for 10, but I don't think 12 hits if I remember correctly.
No, 12 hits. Zombies have awful AC.
They have like 8.
Yes. They have an actual minus their dexterity. But yeah, you flip over, you zoom through the courtyard, put yourself in position, and then as you kind of center yourself, and you feel the rotted bones beneath this thing's flesh kind of crack and bob in place. You definitely know you've done a fair amount of damage to this thing. But yeah.
I give a thumbs up and a nod to the guard on the other side, and that's my turn.
Nice. Eitri will turn to his 2 guys and says, have you 2 got this? And they say, yeah, absolutely, Captain. Right, I'm going to make a start on the next area. And he's going to bowl past Tyrina and make a beeline down here.
Oh, I'm gonna have to stop being an octopus at some point.
Yeah.
It's so slow.
Yeah. Then the guards, they're both going to squeeze past here and maneuver in here. And there's like only 2 stealth children now, so they're going to actually do an attack. So 1 against non-1 misses. 1 with advantage down beneath. Deals 8 damage. And then as he stabs forth, and the buddy on his opposite side deals the final amount of damage to finish it off, just kind of as the first one holds it in place, the other guy does like a sweeping motion with his pike to separate it from its legs, and he just crumbles. And then the guy down there is going to use his spear with advantage on the zombie. He gets 2 damage as it pierces through the thing's flesh, but it still scrabbles as it's kind of pinned in place. And then that'll be their turn. Tyrina will turn to you guys and say, do you want me to keep an eye on Glassforge, or do you want me to stay here?
I think we can handle them. Just go.
Okay.
I got these guys if the rest of you want to go.
There'll be a giant octopus tendril pointing down that way.
Okay, so she's going to move down here, at which point I need to reveal more of the map, because she is a player still. And I'm going to use the square one. It's going to be easier this way. That's better. I should probably reveal this bit as well, because... There we go. Okay. And she had to use her dash to get the extra 5 feet to get to that bit, so that'll be her turn. Renji.
Yeah, with this, I can't just pop out here, can I?
Sadly not. That is a solid roll.
Oof. I don't.
Finish off that spell child so that you can free up more people.
Yeah. I will use Eldritch Blast and first cast. My first one is on this one. My second one is on the zombie.
Okay.
Do you have to like declare both of the shots before you do them, or can you do like shot then shot?
It's technically like it's the wall, effectively the Warlock equivalent of a ranged multi-attack. So I'd say you'd be able to see the result of the first missile and then declare as to where the other ones are going.
Because
Okay,
the
yeah,
zombie probably better to put down. Actually, no, that just about to have a turn. Yeah. Might as well.
Yeah, I mean, then I'm just going to cast it on the zombie, just full force. That is a natural 20
There you go.
On the zombie?
on the zombie.
Okay, Undead Fortitude doesn't work on critical hits, so it is down.
I guess you can shoot the other one.
That would have been both.
Yeah, because it would have done 5 on the normal hit and the 14 on the critical. Unless the zombie took 5 damage and was done.
Whereas, let's see.
It would have been
Yes, it would
7
have.
if it was just one attack.
No?
Each bolt does 1d10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Eldritch Blast
Interesting.
is unlike other cantrips where it's just more damage dice. Eldritch Blast is like I get extra targets to go for.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, the 5 would have killed it anyway, or at least it would have prompted it to have to make a save.
But it was a critical, so...
So it's dead.
So, would you then allow me to push the second bolt towards the Stealth Child and just roll a 1d10?
Yes.
Okay. Would the 12 have hit?
No, it would not.
Then it misses, I would say.
Okay.
Unless you want me to roll again.
I'd say roll again. Why not? Because
Okay.
because the intention of the
Because
roll
we are rolling twice for every single attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. So d20 plus 8 for a
That hits.
d10. That's a 9.
And that kills that one.
Huzzah! And with my movement,
Mhm.
I will then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here.
Okay. Excellent. So, all the undead in the courtyard you're currently in at the moment are destroyed. The ones down here, having not seen anything, will maneuver themselves appropriately. And then we'll see how well they do. Actually, no, hold on. One of them is actually engaged in important characters. So the zombie was going to try and see if it can slap Eitri. And misses. With a natural 1 or a natural 20. If only he had a flanking bonus, but he doesn't. So, what he will do is he will flail uselessly against Eitri, who will bat him away with the back of the hand, and the rest of them will see how well they do. So, this one. Nope. Huh. Okay. Okay. So, as these guards commence their fighting, this guard over here is distracted by the Stealth Child behind him, where the Stealth Foss raises its rusted sword and just separates him from shoulder to hip, and the guy falls apart into 2 pieces in a pained and sadly fatal injury. And that's essentially it for the moment. But the fighting continues in the courtyard, and you can definitely hear the cacophony of more fighting coming from outside the castle. Max.
Okay. At least here so nice and see. I have. Okay. Zombies are kind of Tyrina's bread and butter, so
Okay.
I'm gonna assume she's got that.
Okay.
And dash down here to get better shots at things later.
Okay. Ziden.
So bonus action to stop being a tentacle monster.
Okay.
10, so I could get to there. In which case I will dash. That's 35 there. I have to go through the other way. 20 there. I can get just behind Tyrina.
Okay.
And that's my turn of running.
Okay. Hikan.
Alright, so taking a look at everything, everyone's okay here. It's cardio day for Hikan, so again, I'm going to burn a key point, use a Step of the Wind.
It's cardio for everybody.
He's not skipping leg day.
Oh, no, he is not. And with my 135 feet of movement,
And 35.
He's
going
doing
around on the secondary staircase, the one towards the left,
Mhm.
I will have just enough movement to make behind this stall child, but that is my full turn.
Okay.
I do end up passing through the zombie's sphere of influence, so...
Okay, so he attempts to take a swing. As my emails tell me, Steam has a thing and gets in the way of my actual dialogue box.
How dare it.
Gets a 21 to hit your AC for 7 bludgeoning.
It indeed does hit, but I am alright.
Okay.
I am going for that Stalfos.
Okay. Then it is Eitre's go, who will then take his longsword and slice into it. 1 and 2. Dealing a total of 12 damage as it cuts into rotted flesh. Cursing under his breath. Very old curses. Probably part of a dialect that is long since died. And then that'll be his turn. The guards. They will have their rolls and see how well they do. Okay. In the midst of the fighting, this style child on the stairs is the guard takes his pike, hooks it between the ribs, and then puts his whole body weight to lever it off of the stairs, at which point it falls down the rest of the way and just is a pile of bones at the bottom. So technically it is there. And then he'll use his movement to engage with the Stalfos, and that'll be the guards go. The rest of them continue fighting and remain on even ground with the undead. Tyrina, on her turn, is going to take her axe and, with Divine Rage, swing it for 22 plus 3. It's not a crit, but it did hit with additional radiant damage. That zombie is dead.
I knew she had it.
Yeah. She kind of swings the axe, kind of hooks it, and then pulls it to one side, and with this kind of rough tear, it falls apart with the force of the swing. And just gritting her teeth, she's going to run over to here to flank with this Star Child, and that'll be her turn. Renji!
Could she maybe move 5 feet north, please?
Here? Okay.
Just a request.
I'm going to move so that Renji is in the courtyard as well, and Renji sees that Stalfos. Is that the similar to the one that came out of the mausoleum?
It seems like it's a similar structure. Like, all Stalfosses don't look like genuine giants, look like the bones have been pulled and stretched in a fashion that makes them look big. And this one, like, the armor that it wears is definitely different because it's basically using weapons and armor that it died in, but it is definitely of a similar construction.
Do I know if it's sustained any injuries yet?
It doesn't appear to be.
Then I'm just going to throw two of my Eldritch Blast bolts at it.
Okay.
Eldritch Blast. It's a 26 to hit for 10 for both bolts.
Okay. 26 to hit for 10. Yep. The bolts slam into it, shaving off some of the bones that it has. Like it loses a rib or two as it stumbles back slightly. Seems a bit preoccupied with the immediate combatants that surround it.
Okay, and I will use Hexblade's Curse on it.
Okay. Sweet. I'll give it a little symbol. Boom. There we go. Okay. Stylechilds. This one is going to tap. It's going to move down to this guard in order to deal with him. This one's also dealing with that guard. That one is also more focused on the guard that is currently fighting. So let's see how they do. Okay, and okay. All right. Yeah. Just need to get rid of this bull guard thing. There we go. Okay. So, as you watch, there is a little more combating between them. It seems even ground, and the Stalfos raises its blade and cuts into the guard to the south of it. The man tumbles to the floor and seems in a bad way, like in a sense that he's not dead yet, but he's very much out of this fight. And that'll be their turn. Max.
Gotta line something up.
Go ahead, do it.
Can I budge it a little bit down? That's canning both of them and not you.
Yeah, I'd accept that.
Asking all three of them actually, because it's technically in this one's space.
Okay.
Yeah, super laser.
Makankansapo!
I'm a firing my laser!
There's a rumble of thunder around Max as he incans the spell this time. Bet you all know it by now. Lightning bolt. It's gonna tear through 2 Style Children and the Stalfos
Okay.
for 24 lightning damage.
Let's see if this it does. Awesome.
Just click on the map.
I was like for this.
Okay. So I need to have a look and see. No, that's not the one. I need to click on this one here. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
that-ish. Or down a bit. So like that? Nope.
It just did like go up a bit more. Yeah, that was the line.
Okay. Yeah. I'd say that doesn't get Hikan, that's fine. So it goes through all the enemies that it targets, right? Because they it's a
And all
100-foot
of them
line.
have to make a DC 16 Dex saving throw.
Okay. Alright. Let's see. DC 16 Dexterity saving throw. So, first off we'll do the Stalfos. Because he's the bigger one. And it's the character sheet I have up. So he passes and takes 12.
Takes 12.
Okay, then the Style Children. So the one who's closest to you, 21, takes 12, but that is the vast majority of his hit points, so he's not looking too good. A light breeze could probably blow him over. And the one at the very end only gets a 14 and is obliterated.
Pop.
Okay. Excellent.
And that falls to one knee.
Alright. Ziden.
What was your policy on using bonus actions, spells, and normal spells?
So it's if you have a spell that can be cast as a bonus action, so long as that spell is not higher than second level, you can cast it if you have already cast a spell as an action.
Okay. In which case... Has this had a turn yet? Is it going on the normal spell chart turns?
Yeah, it's going on the universal undead turn.
Okay. So, first, Ziden will raise his staff. There'll be a shimmer in the sky. It's a blazing beam of light comes down. Moonbeam! Here, in the bottom left.
Okay. This spell for the first time on turn starts to turn there is engulfed in gulfy flames of searing pain. It must make a Constitution saving throw of DC and take 2d7 shape changer, making it saving throw at disadvantage. If it fails, it also instantly reverts to its original form. When each of your turns after you cast a spell, you can use an action to move the beam 60 feet in any direction. Okay. So does that happen as you've cast it, or does he only have to roll when his turn starts?
When his turn starts.
Okay.
As far as I see reading this.
Alright. Hikan.
Wait, I'm not done.
Oh, right, yeah, you've got other things. Sorry.
You said this guy's not dead?
Not completely. He's in a bad way. Like, yeah. He's effectively at 0 hit points and bleeding out.
Less dead!
Less dead. Awesome. His wounds begin to heal over themselves, and the mess clears up slightly, but he seems rather traumatized about it, and he is prone.
Of course.
But yeah, so that'll be anything else you want to do?
May I have a little token for my moonbeam?
Oh yeah, let's see if we have one that functions like that. So what's the radius on it?
5 feet.
5 feet, okay.
It's 40 feet in the sky, but 5 feet down. But we've gone from one laser that's horizontal to a vertical laser.
5 foot radius, so 10 foot.
We've gone from Tesla coil to orbital laser.
Yay! Tesla coil was stronger.
Just wait until you get sunbeam.
True.
So I'll put it at the back. Sadly, I only have elements of lightning, fire, and acid. I don't really have anything else. It'll have to be lightning for the moment.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Is it a 4x4?
It's 5 foot radius, so it's basically a 10 foot sphere.
Oh.
Yeah.
In which case I just have it like entirely on the guy.
Okay. Ooh. There we go.
Shine a spotlight on him.
Yeah.
Fuck this up!
Okay. Hikan.
Excuse me, Mr. Stallchild, I have more important things to take care of. And then I whack him with my fist. 27 for 16.
Okay, yep. Crunch, it's down. Just donkey punch the skeleton. Boom!
And then I will use my movement to go here.
Uh-huh.
And I'll look at the Stolfos, and it's like, how about you pick on somebody... How about you pick... You're taller than me, this doesn't work. And I just punch him again.
Okay.
25 for 7.
Okay, he is still skeleton, so it does double, so there we go.
Let's see how good his con is, shall we?
Okay. Start off Constitution saving throw. His Constitution saving throw is 6, so he is stunned. Nice.
Yay.
Perfect. If that is the case, then I will spend my last key point and do Flurry of Blows.
Okay.
So 24 and 27 for 20 each.
Okay. Yeah, you just I imagine like you punch a couple times and then grab onto his ribs and pull them asunder as he just falls apart like a shittily put together Jenga tower, and it's just falls with a clatter and bones everywhere.
And then like Hikan stretches out, pops, and it's like, all right, let's go. And that's my turn.
Okay. Eitri on his turn is going to move immediately down and take a swing at this style child with a sword. Only does it the first one. So he does hit it, at which point it falls apart. And then he moves south to take care of the zombie and uses that attack on the zombie for 7. And there we go. Just kind of cuts through them, swings around. And then it's the guards' go. Let's see. There are only 2 living undead in the courtyard now, so guard number 1 is going to stab that zombie.
Stab, stab.
12 to hit, 5, which it does. Excellent. And then this one here is going to move around the moonbeam.
Yep, good idea.
Use all of its movement to get over to here. This one's going to use half of its movement to stand up. And is also going to move into position here. And stab at this style child. I'm also going to get rid of this thing because apparently the animation is making my frame rate go down.
It's a cool effect though.
Yeah, it's a cool effect. I think they're only meant to be there for the sake of just a brief thing rather than on screen all the time. Yeah, so the guy's going to take a stab at this stealth child, getting a hit for maximum amount of damage it can do, which is 7. Then the other guard is going to do the same thing. Gets a critical hit for 8, which kills it. Wow, that really coordinated today. There's kind of like
Tyrina.
They got some good ass guards.
yeah.
That's true. Are they using their spears in one hand?
They're pikes, so they're using them two-handed. Oh wait, yeah. Well, they're using yeah. I didn't realize. I think I've only just got a spear on here. I think they were meant to be pikes, but I didn't put in the right thing. Ah well. Yeah. So they run forward and they take care of that. At which point Tyrina is going to, on her go, move over to this guy. She's going to be under the Starfoss token for the moment, but she's going to swing her axe.
Show these boys how it's done.
For 19, which contains Radiant, taking care of that zombie immediately. Right. That takes care of the zombies in the undead in the courtyard. You can still hear fighting outside. It's your go, Renji.
Where's the outside
Right.
Down here.
And it's completely closed?
It seems to have been kicked open inside. I just couldn't find a broken door image in time.
Can we see out of it?
Yeah, if you're heading outside, I will show you what the battlefield looks like.
Actually, no. Renji's not going to go outside just yet.
Okay.
He is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to move over here, kind of like jumping up the stairs. And probably going to use Misty Step to get on, like on the first floor, to get over here to survey what's going on outside.
Okay, so yeah, you are close enough to see what's happening. So this is what the outside world looks like.
Oh boy.
Oh, yikes.
I will scroll down on the thing as well.
Oh.
As you can probably see, there are a lot of undead.
Renji is just shocked as he sees all of this.
Make
And
a perception check for me.
okay, that's a 21.
Okay, as you're staring out and you're viewing this scene before you, you see the hordes of undead kind of clambering up this hill to try and get to the castle. The guards valiantly pushing them back. Among the crowd in the distance, you see banners on like this pale purple flag, and on those banners appears to be a hand, and in the palm appears to be an eye, which is surrounded by teeth.
Hylian, preserve us. We are doomed. Wait, no, this is just a vision. These people. And that's probably all I can get in 6 seconds.
Okay.
I will ready an action to shoot anyone who's not a guard who breaches the door again.
Okay. On the let's see. On the turn of the undead, it's too chaotic immediately to see what's happening out there. A couple of them do move, but at this point in time, the fighting is still going on at this point and is kind of just stuck outside. The guards are doing their best, but how long they can hold out is entirely something else. Max, it's your go.
First, I'm gonna move around so I can actually see at the gate. And just stop upon witnessing the chaos out there. That is more enemies than he's ever seen in his life. Probably take a pot shot at this zombie though.
Okay.
Yes, within 120 feet. Just gonna fling a firebolt at it in anger. For 9 damage.
Okay. Awesome. The bolt of flame zips out the door, slams into this zombie, which stumbles to the side and then slowly turns to look at where it came from. Anything else?
That's all I can do.
Okay. Ziden.
So seeing Max and Renji both panicked, I'm going to just quickly say of his headband to Renji, can we win this?
I don't know.
In which case his next words are going to be, I'm going to learn, and instead of fighting, he is going to run back to the orb chamber to try and learn as much as he can before this vision ends.
Okay.
By observing.
Alright.
Because this is a magical vision that seems more useful in his mind than fighting against ghosts.
Okay. That seems
So
fair.
let's see. With my full movement, I can get boop, boop, over here.
Okay.
And basically all my turns are going to be observe, observe, learn.
Okay. Alright. So that'll be your turn. If anything, we'll start doing actions on the next one. But Hikan.
Alright, let's see. Alright. I'm gonna use my full movement to get out here so I can see what everyone's going to do. And then I'm gonna make my poor boy do a wisdom saving throw to see if he's going to rush in. or if he's going to stay there and try to get people to come back towards him to kind of hole up the entrance to the gate.
Okay.
13. Okay, so yeah, he's gonna shout out at the guards. You guys are a bit far apart, and I'll go ahead and hold my action. Anything that comes within punching range is gonna get punched.
Okay. Eitri on his turn will use his movement to get here, at which point he kind of stares outside. As a brief pause, he has his sword, he grips his sword tighter, grits his teeth and says, "Fort Hylian!" and runs full pelt past you, Hikan, to join his comrades in battle. At which point, at that cry, the remaining guards in the courtyard look to each other and nod and run to assist their captain. So they're going to run there. He's going to get to about here. He's probably going to get here, and then he's probably going to get there. And then on Tyrina's go, she's going to move here, push past the guard, get to about here, and then just kind of slows to a halt as she sees the horde of undead. And breathe a sigh. Says, "Why can't anything just stay dead?" And moves as well to join Eitri and the others to fight outside. Renji.
Well then, with the guards piling out, Range is going to... How, like, is this, this space, hold on, this area, this kind of, like, arrow slits, are there any openings here?
It doesn't appear to be that way, no. It would assume that most of the archers would probably be on top of the wall as opposed to firing from within it.
Is there a way for me to go on top of the wall?
Yes, it's just that there's an entirely new layer that I didn't include on this one, so... but we can say, for the sake of it, there is a space to stand here, but that would require you to run up these, up those stairs, come there, then down, and then, yeah.
In that case, I am going to jump down again and stand with Hikan to throw out some Eldritch Blasts against the nearest zombie. So this one.
Okay.
It's an Eldritch Blast. 16 for 19 force damage.
Okay. I'm going to have it do its Constitution saving throw.
So that's DC 24,
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah, it's never going to make that.
Boom.
It can never make... rolls slightly down the hill. As the force of the magical onslaught it has just endured takes its unlife. Yeah. Anything else?
No, not right now.
Okay.
I do look at Hikan and say, remember, this is a vision. I'm not sure if any of this is real. Try not to die, okay?
It's like a dream, right? I'll just wake up.
I hope so.
Undead's turn. It's odd. As you are observing these things, you hear a bit like a bassy sort of like off in the distance. And I'll stop the music a sec. There we go. And the undead that are there, while they are like disorganized and scrabbling slightly to try and get at these guards, they suddenly just stop. And they stand. They don't move from the spot that they stand in, but they stop. The guards haven't taken notice within the melee, and they're frantically going about doing their best to try and slay these things. But yeah, the undead just kind of stand stock still. Max, what do you do?
Step forward to behind the others and say, like Ziden said, learn, see what happens.
Okay.
You're right.
To wait.
Ziden.
Ziden is going to pull out his notes and furiously write his thoughts on how this magic works.
Okay.
Whether or not the notes get saved, it's a better way of remembering things.
Make an Arcana check.
18. Ooh,
Okay.
I could also add guidance for a total of 20.
Okay, so you think you get the idea as to what this might be, but again, there's a chunk of it that might be missing. So you're trying to begin to scramble it down. You've got the base. You believe you have the start of what to understand about it is, but there's still more to learn. But that, I would say, probably takes up the bulk of your turn.
Of course.
Okay, Hikan.
I take a look in the direction of that low horn sound.
Yeah.
And try to see what I can see from over there, see if there's anything different.
Make a perception check.
25.
The crowds of undead seem to be parting for something.
Where are they parting from exactly?
Directly to the center where the door is, so around about, I'm going to say if this pings out.
So like through here?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't see.
Yeah.
Alright,
Straight
cool.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in through here.
Yes.
Alright, cool. I'm going to tell that to Eitri and the group around me that they seem to be letting something through. And I will go ahead and use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I will stand next to the Stalfos, itching to punch it, but
Okay.
instead I'm going to use my action to take the dodge action, just in case something does try to attack me.
Okay. Hold on. There we go. All right. Let's see. Okay. On Eitri's go, since you told him that, he's going to maneuver over to here and tell his men to form up. Which point they do. On their turn, they move back into a defensive stance, and the undead make no attempt to make attack to opportunity or anything. And the other guards come through here and use all their movement to effectively form a wall.
Wow.
Okay. Tyrina will move over to here, and I'd say the guard probably just filled the spot. Renji.
I will push past the guards to stand with Eitri and Tyrina.
Okay.
And looking at Eitri and Tyrina, I say, "Have you seen anything like this before, Captain?"
Captain slowly shakes his head and says, No, I've never seen anything like this. They usually just come through and tear things to shreds. This is different.
Let's just see what will come. Get ready to strike, just in case.
Okay. On the undead's turn. The thing that moves through is unlike anything anybody has ever seen before. The zombies and the Stalfos move to the side. As the figure moves to the front of its legions, you see it in greater detail. If I manage to get... There we go. Bam. It is huge. It is a tall creature, possibly 18 to 20 feet in height, lithe, almost spindly. Over its form, it wears this long set of ragged robes. It has like a black cloth that kind of covers most of its face. The thing's head seems like that of a goat with demon-like proportions. And held in a pale, clawed hand is what looks like a sword, but seems too big and crude, just like an obsidian slab of metal on a stick. There's a chilling, nauseating aura about it. Its head, as it reaches this point, gets to about here. And it doesn't make a sound as it looks over each of you. Its eyes falling first to the guards, and then it slowly turns and regards Hikan before it. Does Hikan do anything?
Hikan maintains eye contact, but goes ahead and has a bit of liquid courage, just to be safe.
Okay. Its head then tilts up past all of you and locks eyes on Max.
Clutches his staff tighter and refuses to move.
It then lowers its head slightly as it looks to Renji.
Renji, holding his role of the Pact Keeper, just lets these tiny motes of energy drift off as he readies an Eldritch Blast just in case.
Okay. And then, as its gaze turns to Tyrina, the creature pauses for a little bit longer than the rest of you. And it tilts its head to the side, curiously. And when it does that, the paladin responds immediately. She breaks her tense stance, and with a righteous yell, she charges forward, axe raised with a burning divine light, and there's something that's new to her. Her charge isn't a jovial display of glorious combat or arrogant desire to scrap for the sake of it like before. She's has this fear and fury that simply tells her that this thing needs to die. She gets to about here, and then the creature says something. What it says is uttered in a language that you haven't heard before, and it appears to only be a single word, but there's something sinister about it. And it carries this immense weight, and its mere existence simply feels wrong. As the word is spoken, something immediately changes. All of you can feel it as this sense of dread just ties your stomach in knots. Tyrina's movements suddenly halt mid-sprint, and there's no attempt to catch herself as she topples forward, tumbling to the ground in a painful clatter, the axe leaving her grip and losing its light, flying off into the mass of living dead. As she comes to a stop on the ground, there's no movement from her at all, almost as if Tyrina Gaul has just been turned off. The creature, seeing this, just watches for a brief moment. And while there's no obvious movement, it almost seems disappointed. Before it looks over to all of you again, seemingly expecting something.
As soon as Hikan hears the clattering of metal, he breaks contact, takes a step back, and checks Tyrina to see if, she's living.
You do a quick check of her vital signs. The way she's lying on the ground, it doesn't look comfortable at all. It's like she's kind of stopped mid-roll, but you check her pulse, you check her breathing, you check for any kind of sign of life, and there is none. She's dead.
I start checking my inventory. Do I have any of my healing pots?
Yes.
All right. I attempt to turn her over and use the lesser healing potion.
Okay. You use a healing potion, you try and pour it into her mouth. The liquid kind of like dribbles out the side of her mouth, and there doesn't appear to be any physical response to it. And after waiting for a painful few seconds, the amount of time you know it should take for this to work, nothing.
Are we out of initiative right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Ness is gonna quietly make his way through. Just stare down the fact of it, this thing, and react in the only way he knows how. By just angrily throwing lightning around in an attempt to do something.
As you cast the spell, the bolt of electricity leaves your staff, and as it reaches just a moment before it hits, the thing raises a hand, and the bolt dissipates. It fizzles out into nothingness, and then its gaze squarely falls onto you.
Throw Eldritch Blasts as well when he sees this.
Okay.
Is here. Oh, so that's a natural 1 on the first attempt.
Okay. The sense of distress that you're currently going through is probably playing havoc with your ability to aim, and as you kind of let loose the energy, the blowback from the actual force of the bolt knocks your aim off slightly, and it whizzes overhead. And as this thing kind of stares down to all of you, again, there's this sense that it feels disappointed, and slowly, almost solemnly, raises a hand and points to the castle, at which point the undead surge forward in a group. And before we cut to what happens next, Ziden, back in the chamber, while you're scribbling notes, you watch as these two mages eventually, at some like mid-scribbling, they just suddenly collapse. And one of them just says, "It's done. Get the stones. Get the Loftwings, get the stones, get them out of here." And the guard nods and frantically bolts up the stairs. And just as Ziden, you're perhaps raising a hand to see if you can get them to answer any kind of question you have at all, you feel this thump in your very being, like something is grievously, horribly wrong. This overwhelming sense of dread and loss and anger just kind of fills your being, even for the briefest of moments.
Ziden would stop for a moment, gulping heavily, whispering a word to himself. He's slowly standing up, looking just out through this slit, sort of vaguely assuming he can feel the dread from that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So he will then take one last glance back at the orbs, satisfied that he's probably got as much as he can from this vision, and I guess we'll start to move that way.
Okay.
Head forward into the dread rather than letting it creep at his mind.
Okay. And as you move into that direction, you kind of get out into this into the first courtyard, and then you hear this rumble and chorus of decaying screams and yells. At which point, your vision begins to fade. All of your vision begins to fade, and you find yourselves back in the cave after a short time in the darkness. You feel the fire nearby, and you feel the stone beneath you. And
As I regain consciousness in the cave, I immediately glance towards Tyrina.
Tyrina is sitting up, and she's kind of hugging her knees.
She is
And
awake?
She is awake, though she does not look good.
I rush towards her. I put my hands, like my arm, around her shoulder. Tyrina, are you okay?
She doesn't respond, but she is shivering.
I just hug her.
Ziden will check to see if the notes have come out, and assuming most likely they didn't, he's just going to move to the side and basically rewrite them again.
Okay.
I walk over to Tyrina and pass her my water skin, which is totally full of water.
Totally?
Totally. Tyrina doesn't take it. She's at this point in a state where she doesn't seem responsive. Like, she's definitely doing her best to try and get her faculties back. After what had happened. She's aware that the rest of you are there. Because as Renji, as you come over and give her a hug, and Hikan, as you come over and offer water, she does briefly look at each of you, but doesn't respond.
Max would have probably, instinctively stood up and hit his staff against the wall as if still having zombies come toward him.
Mm.
And just be stood there breathing.
That would be your answer then. As Diostro.
I glance over at the whiz robe,
Mm.
and I say, "Do you know what happened just now in that vision?"
I was not observant, but I have mentioned that these visions are not always pleasant, and judging by your reaction, you got an answer, but you may not have liked it.
Because if you knew what just happened, but I still don't really know what happened there, but I don't have the words to describe what happened.
that is unfortunately all I can give you. It is your duty at this point to discern further answers from what you have uncovered.
Max grumbles something unintelligible under his breath and then stomps out of the cave.
Okay.
Hikan will sit next to Tyrina and give her like a more of a reassuring, constant touch, like on her leg or something like that. Somewhere where he can keep in contact, but without disturbing her current position. He'll keep his water skin in his lap since he is sitting there in case she wants it, and with his free hand, he fishes out the Book of Mudora and starts flipping through it, trying to see if there's anything in it about the creature or any of the names that he caught.
Okay.
Like a demise or anything like that.
And as you guys kind of get your bearings and try and discern anything and reassure your allies, I think this is a good point to end the session there. Thank you guys so much for coming along and experiencing this with us. Hopefully everything was hunky-dory in regards to recording. I have been ArticulateT, and with me today I have had playing Renji, Heir of Nihilus, TheNetherlad.
So we met Death Sword.
Sword.
Yeah. Playing Hikan Sio, I have had Alvarance.
But Demise is supposed to be a Gerudo man at this point. It can't be him.
You don't know that.
Playing Ziden Shari, I have had the Robo-Pirate.
Ziden did learning.
Playing Max, I had Keastreth.
From one trauma straight into another.
And hopefully next time we'll have SteveTheSeregios playing Sho Daius. But until then, thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.